So on Shabbat Hallelu, we don't usually have a formal sermon, but a little teaching that I want to share with all of you this evening. And it's a little interactive, so you might need to be near your chat box as well. And those in the congregation, I hope you can hear us and you can chat to your neighbor the answers. So I have a question. Though Passover is far away, or not that far away, but farther away than we're thinking more about Purim in just a couple of weeks. I was wondering if anyone knew who was not mentioned in the Haggadah. You can write in the chat box and let me know who's not mentioned in the Haggadah. Did I stump all of you? If you were typing Moses, you would be correct. Jen White is right. Moses is not mentioned in the Haggadah, which is strange, right? Because we think about the story of the Exodus, and there's no words of Moses. We might say his name, we might share his story, but in the traditional text, we won't see it. And so the question is why? And we find out that actually his family was not part of the Exodus story. When the plagues were happening, his father-in-law and his children and his wife went back to Midian, and they weren't there with him. So he had no one to celebrate the first Seder in Egypt with. No one to ask, Ma nishtana halayla hazeh. No one to share the Paschal lamb to tell the story. But in this week's Torah portion, Moses is reunited with his family. We read about the Ten Commandments, but before Mount Sinai, we have this meeting. And it's a famous meeting, and one probably many of you know. His father-in-law comes to see him. His father-in-law, Yitro or Jethro, sees him and says, Moses, what you are doing is not right. He looks at Moses and says, you must delegate responsibility. You can't take on all this responsibility. And Moses, without much back and forth, agrees with his father-in-law. And so as I thought about this week's Torah portion, I think about the people in my life, the mentors in my life who pushed me to share with me something I may have overlooked. So I ask in the chat box for you to perhaps share a mentor that you have had and why that person and what that person taught you or how that person was a mentor to you. And as you do that, I want to share a story about one of my mentors. I have many mentors, many rabbinic mentors. Some of them are on the screen, clergy mentors as well. But I had a mentor. Her name was Dr. Anne Ellen Geller, and she was an undergraduate professor of mine at Clark University. I was taking this class called Writing Out Loud, which was based on like the NPR series of, I'm forgetting the name of the stories. Someone will write in the chat box where you share stories. And we wrote a lot. And every single time I wrote, StoryCorps, thank you. Every single time I wrote, she always pushed back. She asked me questions. She said, why did you write this? Why did you use this word? Why did you tell me this story? Why did you use that adjective instead of this adjective? And she was tough. She kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, but she did it in a really beautiful way. It was always through questions. Similar to Jethro, I had to really think about my actions. Dr. Geller did not give me the answers, but she made me think about what I was doing. And so I believe a really strong mentor is someone that asks the right questions in a loving way to push me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I believe that's what Jethro did with Moses. He wanted to see Moses succeed. He saw that Moses was going to go through many challenges and he didn't want him burnt out. But instead of saying, oh, you are going to be burnt out, he asked Moses a question. And that's what Dr. Geller did to me, asking those right questions for me to think about the solution, for me to think about my actions. And so I invite you, as we conclude our Shabbat service this evening, to share with us a mentor in your life and tell us why that person has made a lasting impression on you.